Sorry.
A warm welcome to all the panelists. Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, sir.
To all the attendees who are just crawling in, we have all the panelists who are already logged in, and we're just giving a couple of more seconds to more attendees to come on board, and then we'll quickly start. Radhika, if you could just put up the slides. Thank you. Two minutes into it, maybe a couple of more seconds, and then we start. Good morning. Thank you so much to all the panelists and to all the attendees for logging in for this webinar. A very quick introduction. I'm Siddharth Gupta. I'm the CEO of Mercer Mettl. With me on the panel are my colleagues, Anirban, who's the Chief Revenue Officer of Mettl, Sharad, the Chief Product Officer of Mettl, and his team members, Kapil Malik and Ankit Abhishek. We also have two external speakers, one each from Apple and Airtel. I would request my colleague Anirban to just quickly introduce them because they're logged in right now. I was thinking of keeping them a secret, but because their panel and fire chat discussions slightly later in the event, but I thought since they're with us already, why not just introduce them to the entire list of attendees. So Anirban, could you just do the
Sure, Sid. Sure. Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Anirban, the Chief Revenue Officer for Mercer Mettl. And it's our pleasure to introduce Mr. Dhruv Singh. He's the senior tech expert at Apple, managing a team that works in enhancing power efficiency of the chips that goes into MacBooks and iPhones and iPads. We also have Mr. Ajit Singh. He's the head of engineering for Airtel Extreme, one of the newest product lines in Airtel's portfolio. So very warm welcome to you, Dhruv and Ajit.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Thank you. Thank you, Dhruv. Dhruv's actually in Cupertino, and we promised him that we won't hold him till very late in the night. So thank you so much for making it for this event. And Ajit's in Delhi, and he's battling the pollution and the traffic like me. So most of the other panelists are all either in Gurgaon or NCR region. So other than Anirban, who's in Calcutta. So a warm welcome to both of you on this webinar. For some of you who don't know Mettl, we were a startup born out of Indian startup ecosystem, now part of Mercer Worldwide, the largest HR consulting company in the world. What I'm also sure you don't know is the fact that in 2020, by volume, we became the largest online assessment company in the world. Coming to the topic, what puts us at a vantage point of anchoring a discussion on future of developers is the fact that almost all innovative tech companies and some of the largest names in the tech world, like Accenture, AWS, TCS, Cognizant, either use us for recruiting fresh or experienced talent or upskill their existing people. With them, We do some very deep work in understanding the changing skill profile needed in the future digital workforce. We use assessments to evaluate talent, whether knowledge or proficiency, proficiency in skills, so proficiency in coding, which is auto-graded and at scale, or softer components like aptitude or behavior. So with that introduction to Metal, let me take you through the agenda. So why are we here? As the title says, we would like to focus on three important aspects of skilling for digital era: the why, the what, and the how. I think you'll agree with me that even before COVID, we were in a world which was undergoing a massive disruption. Technology was changing, consumers were changing, and businesses were transforming, either forced to transform themselves or leading themselves into transformation. From travel to vacations, from health to collaboration, from shopping to manufacturing, everything was on a path to becoming digital. COVID, in my view, has gotten this change on steroids, has sped up all this transformation by at least 5 years, if not more. And what we've seen in the last 8 months seems unreal. All schools, colleges, banks, events, almost everything is going digital now. I just attended my nephew's birthday on a Zoom call with 200 of our relatives logging in at the same time. All aspects of our social interactions. Home entertainment has undergone a complete change. Just to give you some facts, Bollywood used to sell about 3.6 billion tickets in 1 year with a revenue of nearly $1.5 billion. And suddenly with COVID in the last 8 months, theater going people have dwindled to zero. So they've made zero revenue from ticket sales. And at the same time, Netflix and the other OTTs have seen a massive jump in their viewership. Even DTH, which was actually on its way down, has seen their subscription go up by at least 40% in India. An example which is closer to Metal, our education customer base was about 50 marquee clients, which we had gathered over 1 year of our work with the education sector. And suddenly post-March, that number has shot up to more than 400 plus customers, contributing a very large and significant part of our revenues from across nearly 90 plus countries. So as a CEO or a leader at Metal, if you'd asked me to predict and prepare an organization structure to handle this spike or a slowdown, it was virtually impossible. And hence the what do we need to do? And got me thinking a bit fundamentally. Fundamentally, at the core of the organization, you need to build talent, which has the agility to learn and unlearn to the ever-changing need of the organization and its reason for existence itself. So pre-COVID, we could still say, okay, you need to transform because the world's changing at a particular pace. But COVID has actually hugely impacted that entire paradigm. And today you need to think of talent for the sheer reason of your existence itself. Let me present to you three factoids and then provide a summary to what we are going to talk to you about this in this event. So factoid one is, and this is from our research as well as the secondary research that we have done across the skilling ecosystem. Two types of skills are needed in employees for companies to manage disruption better. Some of these competencies or skills could be kind of bucketed into the soft skills. So an employee's adaptability, his creativity, his emotional intelligence to manage stress and change, his ability to persuade other people to move in a particular direction. These are all bucketed into the soft skills, which have become even more important than what they were pre-COVID. On the digital tech skill side, future skills like AI, cloud computing, digital marketing, many more, surprisingly, stuff that we never spoke about in the early 2000s. And today, we can't think of a world without them. So if you look at two buckets of competencies, we're talking about softer skills and we're talking about tech skills. Then we actually went deeper into Mettls data. So we are about 11 years old now. And when we went into our historical data, we realized that in the digital skills space, so soft skill has been there and is growing linearly for us. But in this digital skill set, the core skills needed like SQL, Python, Java, they are still in demand. So about 50 to 60% of our assessments get used in that space. But if you look at the growth in demand, the growth in demand has come from future technologies like machine learning, AWS, Azure, cloud security. So to summarize, fact one, you need two types of skill. Within digital skills, you need to maintain core skills as well as invest in the newer skills needed by the organization. But the fact three is the most damaging one. The talent supply chain which exists today, whether it's in India, whether it's outside India, is severely damaged. So I'll take an India example where things are a, a bit more severe. Fresh talent of engineers coming out of India is about 1.5 million engineers a year. And when there was a survey done to understand where they were looking for a career, they said about 97% of them said they would like to go into IT. And when their readiness was checked, less than 18% of them were ready for the job which the IT sector needed them to do. So fresh talent has a lot of gap from where industry needs them to be. And then we got deeper into the future skill requirements. So if you look at the future skill based job roles which are existing today, about 10 lakh jobs are there out there today. Out of them, 30% of are still open. So companies are not finding enough future skill talented people to deploy. And the worst part of the news is that this gap of 30% is expected to go to 40% in 2024. So this widening digital talent demand supply gap is something that has really put a spanner into how companies need to respond to this COVID and disruption and transformation. And this is just not the case in India. If you look at the numbers in the US, you look at the numbers in Europe, globally, all countries and companies are facing this problem. In summary, different companies adopt multi-pronged approach to solve for this problem. But in our experience, we saw there are two things which are common amongst people who have handled this better. One, companies who've been able to rethink how they're hiring, engaging, and reskilling. So if you remember the earlier world, there used to be silos in every organization that, okay, there is HR, VP, recruitment, there is L&D, there is an engagement team. I think there is a huge need for one platform which can run hiring mandates for you, which can continuously engage the entire ecosystem of the people you want to attract towards you through contests, through hackathons, through ideathons, which also give you an edge over your competitors. And most importantly, also allows you to understand and baseline what kind of skill exists today in your company and upskill and reskill your people. So I think one platform approach to managing all the digital talent that you can attract towards yourself was one innovation that the ecosystem needed. The other was a desperate need of this ecosystem to accurately measure future skill proficiency at scale. So there are systems which can ape your current work environment, but they do not have the auto grade capability, the quality of code which can be measured accurately and be done at scale so that you can expand the funnel that you can consider whenever you have a job opening. This needs to be done on simulators which ape real life work environment, thereby allowing companies to select candidates with the right skill proficiency, which predict future performance. These are the two innovations that my colleagues are going to talk to you about. But before I leave the stage for Sharad and the rest of the team to speak to you, I briefly wanted to share with you Mercer Mettl's philosophy. Obviously, on a larger canvas, we want to impact the world. At one end, we are closely working with the education ecosystem to help them teach candidates better so that their produce is much closer to what the industry demands or at least expects. And at the other end of the spectrum, we are helping companies soul search and understand what do they mean by talent, what skills, what knowledge, what aptitude and what behavior works for them. At the end, our endeavor is to make sure that in this race to adopt the latest of what technology has to offer, humans are not left behind. We run the course along with the technology for overall betterment of the society. At that note, let me invite Sharad to take you through the rest of the proceedings.
Thank you, Sid. I think that was a very nice introductory note. A very warm welcome to everybody. I hope you guys are keeping safe and doing well. Uh, I I am uh, the Chief Product Officer for Mercer Mettl. I, along with my colleagues Kapil Malik and Ankit Abhishek, are going to showcase Two of the innovations that we have come up with to solve for the problems that Sid just spoke about. Uh, to begin with, I would like to start this presentation with stating that we've been in this space for a long time now. Uh, we have had tech assessment skilling in our portfolio for almost 8 years. Uh, and just to touch base at a very high level, let me just take you through that. We've been working with 2,500 plus clients, and these are some of the very big names in tech: Amazon, Microsoft, Airtel, Samsung, etc. We have been engaging with these clients for their various needs. They trust us with their hiring, their reskilling, and the engagement initiatives. Not only that, we are also working with these clients across 90 plus countries. Now, what that brings in is that we are not limited to a one particular demographic. Our platform is widely used across the world. And the kind of nuances that it brings in is not only in terms of the platform capability, but also in terms of the kind of content and the kind of skill set that different roles require at different places. Just to give an example, a startup in Silicon Valley, uh, their definition of a Java developer might, or rather, it is actually very different from, let's say, a large services setup somewhere in a developing market. To understand these nuances and to be able to cater to these using one unified platform, which Sid was talking about, is something that we've been doing for 8 years now. The testimony to that is, till now we have actually delivered 75 lakh plus coding assessments. These assessments have been delivered across 25 plus coding languages. So we basically support Java, C, C++, Python, you name it, and you've got it. And these languages are across 100 plus tech skills, right? So there are different job roles, different tech skills who require different proficiency in languages. And that is what we have been delivering through our platform and our content teams. And with this, there are more than 51 lakh candidates who have been on Mettl platform and have taken these assessments. So we have a very wide-ranging experience, both from a candidate scale perspective, also from the expectations that typical candidates have from a platform which is trying to assess their coding prowess. Some of our top achievements are: we have conducted 1.7 lakh plus proctored assessments. Now, I think all of us appreciate that in this remote working scenario, while assessment definitely is a core step in testing a person's abilities, but unless there are anti-cheating mechanisms who can ensure the integrity of the test taking, it all may come to a naught. So we are a pioneer in proctoring space as well. We have conducted 1.7 lakh proctored assessment recently. 50 of the world's top tech companies, they trust us with their hiring, their reskilling, and their engagement needs. And just to a fun fact, in a single 12-hour period, our platform was able to handle 200,000 plus code compiles for one of the largest clients, tech clients, that we have, and for one of their drives. So what does this all contribute to? It basically states that we understand the landscape, we understand the ecosystem, we have worked with majority of the tech clients, and we understand what are the kind of problems that they face in their hiring initiatives, in their reskilling initiatives, and their engagement initiatives. Just to very quickly highlight some of these problem statements. So shortlisting candidates, right? So the moment you publish one particular job role, your hiring departments are inundated with tons and tons of applications. So how do we make sense of this scale of applications? How do we ensure that the right candidates or the right profiles are not really getting ignored? And then finally, once you do the screening, which takes a lot of time, the actual list of candidates that may really fit in your criteria may be very small, right? So you may have hundreds of profiles, but you may have less than 10 good profiles that you would want to kind of work with. The other problem is the time spent in actually conducting these interviews. So especially for tech hiring, a typical process is depending upon the seniority of the hire that you guys are going after. There are at least 3 to 5 coding interview rounds that companies generally prefer. And I'm not even talking about the remaining rounds, which are the screening rounds and the HR rounds, so on and so forth. And finally, how do you, let's say you have done all this and you have kind of now come to a final shortlist of a couple of people, but then how do you go ahead and select the first among almost equals? All right, what are the parameters that you think about? What is important for you, for your company's vision, for the product's vision, etc. And then what exactly is the kind of time you're spending in doing all of these activities? How much productive hours your team is spending in screening, interviewing, and then finally selecting somebody. On the reskilling bit, again, how do you ensure, let's say you have a huge tech team. Now, how do you ensure where and on whom would you want to spend your training dollars? Do you want to spend all of the money on all the developers? Let's say if you have a big technical team of 1,000+ people, or would you want to identify the people who are more agile to learning, more flexible to learning new skills, right? So that is a core problem that we have seen in reskilling. And then finally, how do you keep this workforce motivated? So there has to be an engaged workforce, who is motivated to work towards the vision of the company. Otherwise, the engagement levels, they fall down and it eventually hampers the productivity. And if this is not enough, now we have to do this all remotely online. So these are the kind of problems that we have seen in our experience. We have been solving it for our clients. And this is what helps us understand the whole ecosystem, the kind of use cases that you guys are trying to solve, and the kind of problems that we end up usually facing. Now, what if I tell you that there is a platform, there is a solution which caters to all of these problems, and it is a one-stop shop which you can go to, and it basically helps you solve for all of this. And that is where I'm very happy to announce the developers of Future platform, which is Mercer Mettl's coding assessment platform. And at this point, I would like to introduce Kapil Malik, who's the head of product for technical assessments at Mercer Mettl. And Kapil is going to take you through the developers of Future platform. He'll deep dive into each of these areas that I spoke about. And he's going to talk about how we are solving this, what are the kind of tools that we have, and what is in for store for all our clients who are looking to solve their technical assessment problems. So Kapil, over to you.
Thanks, Sharath. And it's my pleasure to be a part of this event. And hello, everyone. So I'm a part of the product management team here at Mercer Mettl. So Mercer Mettl technical assessments platform is basically has been able to assess the tech skills globally across for various enterprises as well as small and medium businesses over the last couple of years. And all this has been possible because of the rock solid and the robust platform that lays at the foundation of what we have to offer to our customers. And today we are proud to announce an all-inclusive developers of the Future platform that basically works on 3 core building blocks, or as we call it, the 3 core pillars of building a tech team systematically, that is hiring, reskilling, as well as engagement. Now, I will quickly talk through, all of the pain points that are associated with each and every pillar or building block. And basically we understand how the platform helps alleviate that pain, starting with hiring. But before that, let me quickly introduce to you fictional character Sam. Now, Sam is an HR leader in a technology firm and has been given a mandate to really scale the tech team to meet the increased business demands. And one key problem that he needs to solve is that that the time to hire needs to be as quick as possible. And the other thing is that he does not really want the tech team to be deeply involved in the hiring process because of the existing commitments that the team is having towards the deliverables. Now, for that, he needs to really build a plan. But what does that plan mean, and how do we really go about building it? For that, we really need to understand the bottlenecks that really come up when it comes to hiring. Now, one of the key bottlenecks that really comes up is basically filtration, right? Now, filtering out the effective, the right candidate from a pool of applicants, be it in case of campus hiring, where it is a game of scaling the elimination process, or in case of lateral hiring, where we're looking at a particular skill set at a particular experience level. And especially this the complexity here, multifolds within the tech skills landscape, because this is ever increasing, and it is difficult to be on top of all the depth and breadth of skills at a given point of time, especially in cases of company hiring, as Sid mentioned, the future skills and niche roles for a company. So that is where the importance of effective planning comes into picture, to build the right suited assessment battery to filter out the undesired candidates. And so that is where we come up with the 3 Ws of planning. That is where, who, and what, which I just went through. Now, once the plan kind of is clear in terms of 3 Ws, how our developers of the future platform helps is that it now enables Sam to create assessments with the help of the pre-built tests that we have, or he can create his own tests with the help of our question banks, which comprises of more than 1.5 lakh questions, which is the world's largest library of technical questions to choose from. And these questions, as mentioned by Sid, is that these are not just limited to knowledge-based questions, being MCQs or the fill in the blanks type of questions, but they are hands-on. When we say hands-on, we are actually talking about the suite of tech simulators that we have, be it for roles such as backend programming, database database developers or managers, data sciences, DevOps, etc., or even full stack developers for that matter. And these are all auto scalable, because these are all based out of these are a cloud-based platform, and candidates can access these assessments from anywhere, right? And of course, auto grading is an important aspect of it. So these all have auto grading capabilities. Now Sam basically has the plan and has created the assessments, but the next step is a crucial one, which basically means that how does he roll out these assessments, right? How does the assessments basically reach the candidates, and how can he track the hiring funnel? So that is where our platform really helps, sending out bulk invitations, bulk reminders, and really taking care of the increased load if at all needed. Also, we have a solid proctoring capability that ensures that the tests are the right person is taking the test in a secure environment. And And reporting is an integral part of what we have to offer. So we have the capability to customize the reporting needs as per the customer demands, and really with the help of auto grading and a suite of capabilities that we have to offer, we are able to present with group level reports or individual level reports, bring out benchmarks, etc., to really cater to all of the needs that are required for the hiring team as well as other stakeholders involved in the hiring process. Now, once the candidates have taken the assessment, the next important bit is really shortlisting the candidates and then interviewing them. Now, Sam here wants to basically enable the interview process, or really digitize the interview process, and that is where our platform comes in with our interview with our online interview capability that really helps analyze the reports of so there's going to be one single pane of glass where there's going to be reports or views of the previous rounds, where the interviewer can really look at the strengths or the areas of improvement for the candidates, and really position the interview accordingly. Key feature here is that there is a capability to set up a live pair programming environment with more than 80 plus programming languages, uh, and that really will help in proper evaluation, or rather data driven evaluation on a predefined evaluation criteria that can be defined by the stakeholders involved, and really assess the coders live with the help of video chat or various flow charting mechanism, etc. So this really helps take the discussion to be very effective and really enable an extremely reliant and data driven hiring decision. So here, if we summarize, right, Sam was able to basically eliminate or alleviate the two major bottlenecks, that is filtration as well as selection. And with the help of that, he was able to onboard some really good talent within the team. But the story does not end here. One of the key challenge when new talent is onboarded, especially in case of campus hiring, is the skill readiness. How ready are the employees to deliver? How ready is the new joinee to deliver? For that, one really needs to come up with really an upskilling strategy. Now, there are two aspects to coming up with this strategy. One is to really understand what is the tech skill requirement across the organization at every level, and the other is to understand where are the competency today. Where are we from a tech competency, and looking at the requirement and doing a gap analysis. That where are we lacking in terms of the tech skills that are required to deliver growth and business for a particular organization. And this activity is quite tedious, and that is where a systematic approach to upskilling is required, and that is possible with the developers of the future platform, where a targeted skill gap analysis can be done at an individual as well as at a team level, with really customized reports to basically bring out that where is the competency of an individual or the team at for the desired skill, bring out an organization wide benchmark as well as industry wide benchmarks as to where we are with respect to a particular skill or a role vis-a-vis the industry. And all of this really, encompasses to help create a targeted training plan customized to an individual or as a team as well. Now, once the training once the training basically is enabled, we should also have the capability to measure the training effectiveness. Now, this can be in training as well as post-training assessments, and basically skill-based assessments to understand, has the gap been plugged. Now, this process can be iterative at times, but towards the end of it, you will have, employees that are ready to deliver and really have an effective team. Now, the final piece of the puzzle is on employee engagement. Now, before that, let me quickly summarize what all has happened. So Sam has been able to effectively hire talent, and now has an upskilling strategy in place to basically make them ready to deliver, be it the new hires or even the existing employees. And now comes an important aspect of of this entire puzzle, which is engagement and motivation. Now, when we talk about when we talk about engagement and motivation, we basically end up talking about metrics such as net promoter score or the employee satisfaction index, and really end up tracking them. But and we also know that we are at X and we want to go to Y, and really build employees at as the advocates for an employer brand. But essentially the gap lies in how do I go from X to Y. And that is where with our primary and secondary research, by talking to our customers and really doing a deep dive on the industry analysis, what we have found out is that perks and salaries are no longer drivers for motivation or engagement, and it is merely hygiene. We are in an era where employees really want to understand whatever they do, how it really brings out the value in the company, right? What they are doing is valuable, and really make them a part of the ideation and innovation process. Really make them understand that if at all there is there is a breakthrough idea that an employee has, he or she will be supported with this idea, and really recognize and implement them within the company. Now, all this is good, but again, there needs to be a systematic approach to ideation or really running an ideathon. Now, that is where we come in with our ideathon and a hackathon platform that basically enables one to conduct the ideation journey or the ideation event seamlessly with the help of our online platform. Right from conceptualizing the event, where we are planning out the whys and the whats of the event, and really configuring the online platform, conducting the event, viewing event analytics such as dashboards, etc. And then we also have we have come up with an advanced post-event analytics system, which really brings out what were the metrics that we wanted to track on employee engagement, and bring them out in one single view. We have experts to help you out throughout this journey, and frankly, today in the time of people where a lot of people are working from home and remotely, employee engagement use case has come up a lot, and we are and all of us are really actively helping out our customers running these events day in day out. So with this, Sam has solved the hiring piece. He is able to skill and really upskill and make the employees ready to deliver, and also has understood the importance of the ideation or ideathons to keep the employees engaged. There's a QR code that is flashing here. So if you want to know more about the developers of the future platform, you can scan the QR code, and I believe the same link has been shared over chat as well. Please feel free to reach out to us on contact@mettl.com, and even even here on chat, so that if you would like to have a hands-on view as to what all capabilities we offer, be it in terms of the simulators or the interview platform, or our platform in general, please feel free, and we'll get back, and we'll be happy to have a hands-on. So with that, over to you, Sharath, and thanks.
Thanks a lot, Kapil. I think that was a pretty engaging session. So what I would like to do now is, introduce Ankit Abhishek. And before I do that, what I would like to do is very quickly do a recap of what Kapil has talked about. So the Developers of Future platform is a one-stop shop which basically helps our clients not only in hiring, but reskilling and engagement. However, what we have observed, and with the plethora of clients that we've been working on over the years, what we figured out is that uh, for the mid to senior level hires, especially in the tech space, right? And I'm talking about leads, architects, chief architects, so on and so forth. We need to go a bit deeper into their skill analysis, right? So while Developer of the Future platform does that, what we figured out at the basic problem in the market, which our clients were trying to solve for, was the fact that how do I ensure that um, I can maybe go into a bit more deeper analysis, so to speak, instead of testing for a syntax and testing for a theory-based knowledge, can I actually test the concepts? So for example, can I give a bunch of candidates a problem wherein they have to develop an app, and that app has front end, back end, and a database component to it? And while they solve the problem that I've given them, have they solved it in the most optimized way? Be it in terms of memory, be it in terms of CPU utilization, be it in terms of the various coding paradigms, or the, let's say, the object-oriented concept. Have they done all that? Now, today, what we have observed from our primary and secondary research is the fact that this problem is solved by one-to-one coding interviews. People basically get onto either a call, or maybe they do it face-to-face, and then these interviews, they go on for a couple of hours, right? And what we were wondering, that what if we solve this problem? So instead of you engaging your senior developers, your architects, and then all of them talking to one single candidate, and maybe testing various facets of his coding personality, what if there is a tool which can do this for you, and which can do this for you online? So with that, I would like to call upon Ankit Abhishek, uh, who's the product manager for our latest innovation, which is Mettl.io. He has conceptualized and created this next innovation. And I think it is best if he comes and introduces it and gives a demo to you. So Ankit, whenever you are ready.
Thanks, Sharat. Hello, everyone. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah.
So, my name is Ankit, and I'm a product manager here at Mercer Mettl. So, I would like to start by talking about what's wrong with the current the traditional coding assessments. So, based on the years of experience that we have gathered in assessing candidates across different coding skills and competencies, what we have figured out that most of the assessments, the coding assessments that are out there, are assessing the core computer science capabilities or skills of the candidate. These may include problem-solving skills or skills involving usage of data structures and algorithms. But companies often they want to actually understand how would candidates actually perform when they deploy them on real-world projects. The companies want to understand how candidates would be, whether candidates would be able to work with frameworks, whether they will be able to work with multiple different technology stacks, whether the candidates that they're hiring will be able to understand other people's code or integrate their own code with existing projects. They also want to know whether the candidates have knowledge about the advanced skills like design patterns, or whether they can troubleshoot issues that they may face while programming. Companies generally don't have an answer to these questions whenever they're hiring when they're giving an assessment to a particular to the candidate. And this generally comes up during the interview process. That is where they're actually able to decipher the candidates and get an answer to these questions. In most cases, whether it be an in-person interview or an online interview, the interviewers end up giving a project-based problem statement to the candidates and ask them to work on those projects. And then after the candidates have actually finally submitted the submission, the interviewers, who are actually developers or senior developers in those companies, they actually manually go through the project submissions by the candidates. So this basically has a big opportunity cost for the company as well, because their developers are actually involved in they have to spend more time in hiring the candidates rather than the time which they could have spent in working on their own projects. So this is a major challenge for the companies. Another thing which is wrong is basically providing candidates with unknown environments during the assessment. So a lot of candidates who are actually developers, they are used to working with fully fledged IDEs of their own, preference. And when they're asked to take an assessments, they're provided with a complete new environment. A lot of candidates find it difficult to understand the environment. At certain times, some candidates actually, spend more time figuring out how things work in that particular environment rather than focusing on the main problem statement. This also leads to a lot of dropouts, and there are times when the candidate also refrain from giving coding assessments, especially in cases where we are hiring for senior developers. So this is another major challenge of having assessing candidates with the traditional coding assessments. Finally, when the candidates have taken the assessment and they have been lined up for interviews, there is not of actual information which is available for the interviewers from the candidate report. They definitely have the score of the candidates, the code written by the candidates in the assessment, but it doesn't help them actually tame the interview in the right direction. They don't know what to ask the candidates. Each candidate, basically they have to start from scratch, and in case there are multiple candidates who have gotten the same marks in the assessment, interviewers are not able to figure out how to differentiate between those candidates. This again becomes a major challenge because it requires more times to be spent by the interviewers on hiring the candidates and screening them out. So these are the different challenges that are out there with the traditional coding assessments that the companies give it to the candidate. So I'll actually now quickly show you how we are solving these problems with our new innovation, which is Mercer Mettl IO, and how it actually looks to the candidates, to the end user. So if you guys see my screen, this is an actual assessment. This is the screen which the test takers get. There is a test timer on the top right hand side, which is visible, and the screen is mostly divided into two parts. There is the problem statement on the left hand side, and then there is the actual IDE. I will talk about the IDE in a bit, but let's first focus on the problem statement. This particular problem statement over here is based on Java and actually utilizes the Spring framework in Java. A quick info about the problem statement is that it requires the candidates to develop a project which has a backend. The backend should basically call certain open APIs and actually process the response that they are receiving from those APIs, and then finally process and forward that data to the front end of the application. Now, this is a fairly simple example of a project-based problem statement which can be given to the candidates. But actually, there can be, any other project-based problem statement that can be implemented in a similar way. There are a lot of technologies which are supported. There are, you say, for example, in backend, we can have problem statements on Java, .NET Core, Python, PHP, Ruby, Node.js, any other, backend technology. And the great part is that all of these problem statements can be automatically graded by the Mettl platform. Uh, Talking about front-end frameworks, all the popular frameworks like Angular, React, Vue, they're all supported and can be automatically graded. Backend frameworks like, as we talked about, Spring or Spring Boot in Java, Python with Django, Ruby on Rails, PHP, Laravel, all these can be supported, and project-based assessments can be created and given to the candidate. And again, every one of each one of these problem statements can be automatically graded by the system. There can be test cases which can be defined in the background, and whenever the candidate submit their assessment, the platform will automatically grade the candidate submission based on the defined parameters. So this was about software development. But if you talk about different profiles which are out there, like software testing is another major role which product and services companies have. So we can also have problem statements. There is a long list of technologies which is supported. Just to name a few, we can have assessment based on Selenium for software testing folks. There can be assessment based on TestNG, Cucumber, or unit testing frameworks like JUnit and NUnit. Similarly, for data science or machine learning profiles, there are a lot of other technologies supported, and the problem statements can range from simple data crunching to complex regression model building activities. If I talk about DevOps or system admin related profiles, there can be project-based assessment given to the candidates where they have been asked to write a script, to configure the system or to automate a certain task. So we can, what we have seen that there can be a lot of project-based assessment using a wide variety of technologies, which can be actually configured and given to the candidates. Now, talking about the IDE part. So this over here, what we see on the right-hand side is an IDE which is based on the Thea browser-based IDE platform. It is the most widely used and popular online IDE-based platform. This actually resembles, it's actually been made by Eclipse, which is also who are also the developer of the most popular desktop-based IDE. And this one particularly resembles Microsoft Visual Studio Code, which is again one of the most popular desktop-based IDEs right now. It supports a lot of extensions right away, which VS Code supports, and also has a lot of extensions of its own. So these all extensions can actually be utilized by the problem setters or by the candidates to actually expand the IDE based on their requirements, or to configure and basically add more functionalities that they might require. Like they can add a DB tool, or they can add an API based API based tool which can help them in testing APIs. It comes with features like autocomplete, IntelliSense, debugger, which all the features that a modern IDE would offer. Now, again, the SIA IDE is more suitable for profiles like software development or software testing, where people need to write code. For profiles which involve data science and machine learning, we have support for Jupyter Lab out of the box. This is how it actually looks like to the candidates. The candidates can create notebooks, Jupyter-based notebooks in languages like Python, R, and Scala. They can explore data sets, which are part of the problem statement, and they can make use of the libraries like NumPy, Pandas, SciPy, and TensorFlow. And as I told before, the problem statements, different kinds of problem statements like, data crunching or basically building regression models can be supported, and they can all be automatically graded. This is again a big part where we can automatically grade any type of problem statement which can be created with a wide variety of programming language technologies and tools. Similarly, for example, if we talk about DevOps or system admin roles, we have a straight up terminal which is available to the candidates, and using which the candidates can SSH into a dedicated server environment which is provided to them. The permission to the candidates can be given based on the requirements of the problem statement or requirements of the project, which are given to the candidates. This particular problem statement over here is basically based on configuring Apache HTTP server on an Ubuntu based system and basically hosting a PHP based application. This is again just an example. There can be a lot more problem statements. You can actually pick one of your actual real world problem statement, the task that you do in day-to-day life. You can create a problem statement out of it. So basically, we saw that there are a lot of different environments or interfaces or IDEs which can be given to the candidates based on the profiles or based on the technologies that are out there. There are a lot of more other IDEs possible, like there can be a database design tool which can be used to check database, tech concepts in database developers or database admins. There can be also a Jenkins-based environment which can be used to give project-based assessments for pipelines. We actually won't be going through all of them just for the sake of time. But this gives us a fair understanding that there can be customizable environments and which can be given to the candidates based on the profile and the technology that they are accustomed with. And this gives the candidates a native feel so that the candidates do not actually have to spend time in understanding the online coding environment, and they can focus solely on the problem statement which is given to them in the assessment. Thirdly, if we talk about reports, so whenever a candidate submits their assessment, as I told, Mercer Mettl platform based on the defined configurations evaluates the candidate submissions and generates a report out of it. So right now over here, what we have is a snippet from the report, a sample report which can be generated using Mercer Mettl IO. We can see this is the problem statement which was given to the candidates. This is the problem statement which is appearing. The time taken and the marks scored by the candidates. It is the same problem statement. The whoever is viewing the report, they definitely have access to all of this. They also have an option where they can actually view the candidate's code. So this will open up a new instance using the same ID that was given to the candidates. And whoever is viewing the report, they can actually run the candidate's code and basically run, compile, and test in the exact same way the candidates were able to do. Apart from there is a detailed information about the test cases which is given to the candidates. So these are the test cases which were present in the problem statement. There is a description which is followed by each of the test cases, which actually defines what exactly was tested using that test case. And there is also text or information which is provided, based on the passing or failure of the test case, that tells the report viewer that what exactly went wrong in the candidate's code and why has this test case failed. Apart from the test case information, there is a static code analysis which is done. So there are certain few information parameters which are available to the candidates, available to the report viewers, and showing them like how many bugs were encountered, how many vulnerabilities, or what percentage of duplication is present in the candidate's code. And in case if the report viewer actually wants to dig deep and further analyze the candidate's code, they can always download full analytics. This will give you an Excel file as well as a Word file where all the code files which are present in the candidate's code would be mentioned, and these parameters like bugs, vulnerability, and duplication for all of these code files would be mentioned in a more detailed manner, so that the report viewer can actually go through the particular particular code file, and basically, ask the candidates, why exactly they were, writing the code in a particular way. So this actually helps the interviewers understand more about the coding, the coding abilities of the candidate. It helps them actually ask them. It helps them to ask the right questions to the candidates whenever they are interviewing them. In case if they want to give them further coding rounds or they want to ask them to write a code, the interviewers know exactly what they need to give the candidates to code. So this is one type of report which is possible. These type of reports can also be shared with the candidates themselves, especially in cases of learning and development, where there is a big use case where the candidates actually attend the assessments to judge their own skills, and they understand that where what are the parts where they are lacking, or what are the parts that they are good at, so that they can go ahead and prepare or develop themselves on those skills that they're not good at. So keeping the L&D use case in mind, Mercer Mettl IO is basically a part of the developers of the future platform. And there can be, when I say developers of the future platform, I mean that it is very extensible, and it can be actually combined with a lot of other question types and reporting features which is available with the developers of the future platform. One other example of a report is this, where a lot of more competencies and skills have been actually have been put as part of the assessment, apart from the project-based assessment. So this can help us in building more insightful and more, or more better reports which can help the candidates who would be the test takers, and in cases of learning and development, they would be the employees of the company. So they can go through those reports and have an understanding about what exactly how exactly they map their competencies with others in their organizations or other around the world. So just to go through this report quickly, there can be a holistic summary which can be given to the candidates based on the score that they have achieved. There can be an overall recommendation in case if we are hiring the candidates. There can be a recommendation in the assessment report which can be given, and the hiring managers can refer to this in case if they want to dig deep into the strengths and weaknesses or the areas of development of the candidates, or if in case the employees themselves, they want to understand what are their strengths and what are the areas of development that they actually need to work upon. Those can be individually highlighted in the reports. Apart from providing a very comprehensive and a very detailed view of their performance on the different parameters and different competencies which have been judged in the assessment. So these reports can be configurable based on your requirements, based on the hiring requirements, or based on the learning and development requirements. And these are these can definitely be shared with the candidate. So I'll just come back. Basically, we saw that how we can provide project-based assessments to the candidates, and how there can be reports which can fit in with the developers of the future platform and Mercer Mettl IO. And we also saw that Mercer Mettl IO is a powerful tool which can be used in any of the use case, be it your hiring needs or being your learning and development initiatives. Finally, I will just want to summarize what we have just discussed, and the salient features what Mercer Mettl offers. The first one definitely is that it supports a large number of technologies, and there can be a lot of technical profiles that can be judged, and they can span across all your technical teams in your organization. In Mercer Mettl IO, we can provide industry adopted and widely used development tools to the candidate, which will help them have a smoother assessment experience. Almost all of the problem statements for almost all the technologies which are out there can be automatically evaluated. This definitely helps in faster scaling. When there are a lot of candidates to be evaluated, we can have automated grading set up, and the system will, based on the defined parameters, will automatically grade the candidates. And finally, definitely there can be powerful and insightful and in-depth reporting, which would be available either to the employees of the companies in cases of learning and development, or in cases of hiring, it would be available with the hiring managers which can help them in making better hiring decisions. So, this is my part, which I wanted to cover, and this is what we wanted to showcase about our new innovation that is Mercer Mettl IO. There are a lot of other use cases which are possible. And in case if you want to understand more in details about those use cases, or in case if you want to have a detailed demo of the product, you can definitely reach out to us on the mentioned channels, which are the channels which are mentioned on the screen, or you can let us know in the chat section. With this, I'd like to wrap up my part, and I'll request Sharad to come up and take the session forward.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Ankit. I think that was a great demo. I am sure there are a lot of questions. We have been getting a lot of questions on the chat out here, and we'd be happy to also take this conversation deeper. So you can always contact us on contact@mettl.com. We'll be happy to arrange a in-depth demo. Our experts will basically help you work with you to understand your problem, design the solution, how IO or other tools best fit this. So please feel free to reach out to us. With this, I would like to now bring upon the final part of the session, and I think the most anticipated part. And for this, I would like to now call upon Anirban, who's our Chief Revenue Officer for Mercer Mettl. And he would be taking this session along with Ajit and Dhruv. So Anirban, over to you.
Hey, thanks, Sharad. Can you confirm if you can hear me well?
Yep.
Fantastic, fantastic. No, I think that was a great demo, and now that we have seen the demo and we have heard the product experts, I think it's also time to understand the perspectives of actual users of these solutions within organizations. So I think to that end, let me introduce two esteemed leaders in the space of technology, who are our panelists today. I welcome Mr. Dhruv Singh. He's a senior tech expert at Apple. Manages a team that works on building efficiency into chips that go into MacBooks and iPhones and iPads. And we also have Ajit Singh. He's the head of engineering at Airtel Extreme, and that's one of the newest products in Airtel's portfolio. So it's a pleasure to have you with us, Dhruv and Ajit. A very warm welcome to you once again.
Thank you, Anirban.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak here.
Thank you.
Yeah, and great. It was great to get an overview of the excellent work you guys are doing to support the overall technical hiring space, as well as competence skill development.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Dhruv, Ajit. So just to set context of this panel discussion. So I just wanted to reiterate a few things which I think Sid spoke about at the beginning of this session. So we all know that we are living in a time when technology is defining new possibilities every day. It's disrupting known business models, and overall, it's transforming the global economy as we speak. And I think all of us understand and appreciate that this is all happening at a dizzying pace around us. So as a result, what we have seen is that organizations having a superior tech workforce, that's paramount, to them being more competitive and to them staying ahead, of competition. So a lot of conversations, of late, that's why, in India and globally, with Mercer Mettl, with our larger Mercer Consulting organization, has been around how do we address key issues in building and developing such a tech workforce for organizations, right? So we will try and discuss some of these in our panel discussion. And maybe without spending any more time, let me come to you, Dhruv, straight up and ask. You lead a large tech team at Apple, right? And I'm sure it's never easy, to build a top-notch tech team and keep on scaling it, right? So what are some of the key challenges that you face, in your recruitment process when it comes to your team?
Yeah, I think, well said, it's very hard to gather a good technical team and in fact get candidates on board properly, right? what is exceptionally important for us is to have people who are both nimble, agile, and who have excellent, traditional background in the field as well, right? So one of the things that we focus on, in addition to just what is in the resume, um, is in-person kind of examination where we walk through a problem and look at the problem solution approach, right? And it's sort of a whiteboarding or flowcharting process, if you will. And we heavily rely on that for someone who could be just out with a bachelor's degree, or someone who's a PhD and has years of experience in their field. All of them eventually go through some similar process where they're deeply grilled. And one of the important things that we have is we certainly want to understand whether there is depth in the skills that is mentioned on the resume. And it's very important to bring together experts from across Apple to be able to interview people, or candidates who are coming in. So that to us is a very key component. The other challenge, I would say, in hiring great candidates, great developers or engineers overall, is making sure that what we filter and what we receive as a subset of the thousands of resumes out there is indeed very relevant and will actually translate to success during work, right? Success at workplace. Um, and and that's not necessarily easy, but our recruiters over years have gotten very, very smart, very experienced, and they know exactly by now who is the person who will actually go through the process and who's the person who probably will not, right? So sometimes less is more. So in resumes and stuff, we like to see if there is clarity of what was achieved, even if it's just one programming language or one algorithm implementation, as opposed to tens of them, and um, not so much a clarity of, okay, you know a lot of things, but what have you actually done with that knowledge? Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's
No, absolutely. I think that makes complete sense. And Ajit, I'll come to you with the same question, but maybe before I ask you, what are the similar challenges, or how these challenges are very different at Airtel within your team. Just for our audience, I think it's important to know that while you lead a large engineering team within Airtel, but the DNA of your team is more of a startup, within the larger Airtel world. So with that perspective, are the challenges that you face similar to ones that Dhruv's mentioned, or is there a disparity? Or are there a separate set of challenges that you are experiencing every day?
So, like rightly you mentioned that we are a startup within Airtel, and I think hiring at a fast pace is the most important criteria for us, because we need we keep launching new business, new products, and we need good tech capability within our teams at a very fast pace. So one of the biggest challenge I would want to outline here is that building a strong candidate pipeline and efficiently managing the shortlisting process so that we get the perfect candidates into the interview process is one area of improvement that is there in the system. And also because we're hiring across multiple skill sets, so a constant engagement between the hiring manager and the recruiting partner is a must, because the recruiter should understand different needs for different roles. And this is an area where I feel that with close collaboration between the EM and the hiring manager, hiring partner, this can be improved. So building a strong pipeline of influx of candidates, and then the shortlisting process and close collaboration between hiring manager and recruiting partner is a must, I would say. This is what I feel is definitely one area of challenge that we face. Second is the entire assessment, the code assessment process and evaluation. And again, because it's multiple skill sets, multiple tech roles, multiple portfolios. Getting a good product or platform to merge everything into one assessment system is a bit of a challenge today. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I think we have some great insights coming out from here, and I'm sure our audience, which comprises a large number of HR practitioners, are also taking note, because ultimately, they want to solve these challenges for you day in, day out. So building on this challenges that you highlighted, Dhruv and Ajit, I'm sure an organization of the scale and caliber of Apple and Airtel, you are doing something right today to circumvent some of these challenges, right? So would you want to describe the current recruitment, the current shortlisting philosophy that you have in your organizations? And in that process, can you also touch upon that? Do you see that tools, technologies that are available in the market today are being effectively used, to circumvent some of these challenges? So Dhruv, why don't you, go first?
Right. So I think very apt question. Are they actually effectively being used? Right. So I'll start with some of our practices and some of our philosophy. We certainly believe that academic performance and past experience and clarity, as I said, clarity of past experience and the depth, involvement, and the level of contribution is a great indicator of success. So we always, in our initial phone screens and our initial, feel out of the candidate, we always try to go through one particular technical exercise and say, hey, can you walk us through XYZ? Something that the interviewer themselves is very confident and has a lot of knowledge about, right? And that's one way to understand if the candidate is clean, has a lot of, has a, particularly good thought process about their expertise. The second one is internally we have lots of tools and processes and as well as codes, if you will, to boil down resumes and separate them into organizational fit, right? So there's tens of thousands of resumes that come in which match the many different organizations in Apple, and there are tools which match them. I think certainly every day these tools get better and better, and I think there's huge potential to use this space by everyone, not just Apple, but everyone across the board. Secondly, when it comes to technical level of judgment, right? There are you guys have already thrown out so many names, but I will say that it's very much important for us to say, are they able to at least solve a basic coding problem? Are they able to solve a basic data science, or regression? Can they code up a quick regression model? Do they understand the same language? Not just the programming language, but are they on the same page with, when I talk about regression model, do they know the standard terminology that's used out there today, right? And that's important to see, just because if you have experience, it generally will reflect into best practices and nomenclature and so on. Now, as we get deeper into the pipeline, I think that's where any company around the world would like to use more tools to get a bit more objective evaluation of any candidate in the hiring process. On our end, still, I think just like everywhere else, we very much rely on intuition. We very much rely on how the whiteboarding, flow charting process goes, and when we pose a problem, is the person able to properly bring up a schematic? Is he or she able to code up a clearly explain the flow chart, if you will, and where are the places that they get stuck at, right? Communication, as always, is exceptionally important in today's world. Even if you are a deep down technical person, being able to communicate your ideas. So all that is evaluated in the general framework, right? I think I don't think we use tools to 100% effectiveness yet. And I think there's a lot of scope to be able to do that. As I said, sometimes an interviewer and an interviewee can get stuck in a small vortex about a particular small issue within the broader problem. And I think tools have the ability to remove that, right? I think we've already seen that tools do a great job. Matching resume tools can be very important for these coding exercises and all that. But for the last and the most important stretch, which is the in-depth interview, I think we have to start thinking of deploying tools that you guys have, in fact, been talking about today. Yeah.
Sure. So, Dhruv, I think one aspect which all of us understand is today, I think the scale and pace of technology hirings is what is constraining, a lot of these in-depth conversations, which otherwise organizations were able to have, before. And therefore, at least what we have seen in our experiences, the tools and technologies today are constantly chipping away parts of the interviewer's job, and they're trying to do that at scale without compromising on the fidelity, of the process or the outcome of the process. So I think that's where most of the innovations or the technology innovations are happening. So Ajit, let me turn to you and ask. So is it similar, at Airtel, or are you addressing these challenges, in a completely different fashion of time, of scale that you talked about?
I think this was very well articulated by Dhruv, and I just want to quickly talk about the hiring philosophy that we focus on here. So, I mean, definitely hiring for tech roles, the focus is I would say mostly on tech competency, and I mean, we want to hire the best of the best that is available. But along with that, because again, the nature of the business is different, we are looking for people who have the ability to build trust and take ownership and circumvent through problems even if they get stuck somewhere. So keeping these two things in mind, I mean, today we are using tools during the interview process. I would not say that, again, just like Dhruv, it is 100% efficient. I mean, we are using some tools to manage pipeline, we are using some tools for doing coding assessment and reviews and everything, but again, it's not a stitched together process which is highly efficient. uh, I would give an example. I mean, we love doing whiteboarding when we are doing design discussions, and I mean, in those in-person interviews, it's a very easy job. I mean, you can just switch to the whiteboard and have a quick conversation with the candidate and understand the thought process. If you have to do that remotely today, it's a pain for the candidate as well, and the interviewer as well. So we do have the need for products and tools which can solve some of these situations. And I think the way it is going on, these remote ways of working or virtual interviews are the best way actually to move forward and be efficient about it. One thing which I feel is that, I mean, to solve some of the candidates getting dropped off in the pipeline somewhere, we focus a lot on doing exploratory calls, multiple explore calls with the candidate, starting from the even before giving the coding assessment to the final one. Once he gets selected, explaining the role, clarity, and everything. So the bigger point here is that constant engagement between the hiring manager, the candidate, and the recruiter ensures that if a person gets into the pipeline and is eventually passing through the process, he's highly engaged, he feels motivated, and if the hiring manager has absolute clarity on the role fitment, then it's going to be 100% success there. So yeah, I mean, this is what it is.
No, absolutely. I think great points. So I think what I'm hearing, just trying to quickly summarize, for the audience. So what we understand, it's not the lack of platforms or tools, that's the problem. but it's more about, how do you get a stitched together kind of a solution which addresses aspects of recruitment, you engaging, with your talent pipeline,
Yeah.
maybe ensuring cross visibility of talent pipeline to different tech organizations within the same umbrella organization. So how do you achieve all of that in a unified, seamless way? While interviewers focus on doing more of those in-depth personal interviews for key positions, I think that's where the industry needs to evolve. So I think,
And
that's
one more point here in this, because we go to multiple college campuses as well to do campus hiring as well. I
yeah,
mean, here as well, because we are from there, we are trying to hire in much higher numbers and from multiple locations, multiple to say placement offices and all of that. Again, the need of a product which can stitch together such a journey is highly needed.
absolutely, absolutely. So I think, at this point, let me try and shift gears a bit. Yeah. So we have been talking about building a tech workforce, and I think, we all tend to gravitate towards, our talent acquisition, talent infusion strategies the moment we talk about building a workforce. And a lot of our conversations, center around those topics. But increasingly, we have seen reskilling or multi-skilling, it's becoming a core focus as a sustainable strategy for organizations, to build a differentiated tech workforce. I think that's something in the long term that organizations are increasingly focusing on. And let me just share a couple of very interesting findings from, Mercer Mettl's Global Talent Trend Study. So it's a study done by Mercer. It's a cross-continental study across, it happened across, 7,300 voices in 2020. So we saw a beautiful alignment uh, around the need of reskilling at an executive level in an organization as well as at an employee level. So it was not converging, until these years. So today, executives in an organization feel that reskilling is the single most important talent activity that can deliver the highest ROI for them. And similarly, when you look at employees, they believe that one of the key aspects which will help them thrive in an organization is the organization offering them learning or reskilling opportunities that spans across multiple skills. So it's in ways it has become a part of the new work deal, as we say. So, we were very keen to understand that, what are you, as technology leaders focused on uh, in delivering this learning and development, the training, the reskilling agenda for your team members. So it will be, great to understand that as well. So Dhruv, maybe anything
Sure.
that you do at Apple.
Yeah, yeah. And I wanted to say I saw a bunch of questions in the Q&A section by the audience on this topic, and you touched upon it a little bit, but things like, what somebody asked, how do you keep the niche skill higher? How do you keep employees engaged? Does reskilling matter if you don't have an immediate job for them? And several things. So all great questions. What I will start and say is, I think reskilling and multi-skilling, you can think about it consciously and say, I want to develop this skill, or you can also most likely in your fluid course of your job, you're going to need skills that you never even knew existed. You didn't even have them. You will evidently, need them to be successful at your job, not just to do it well, but even to do it and be able to collaborate with others in the same organization. So it's exceptionally important that it be done consciously by the employee. I think one part which is very important, and I can share what we do at Apple, is that to some extent we evaluate the entire person's um, performance to their development goals, right? So for each year, there are some development goals that the managers and the overall organization identifies for them. These are identified not just for the sake of doing development, but because you know that this development will bring synergy to the person's jobs and eventually lead to gains for the employee, for the organization, and for the product, right? So that is putting it out there, saying that, hey, for this year, I really want to develop a skill XYZ, which I can immediately apply to a project or several projects that I'm doing. And that's one way we encourage it, and we see that it actually propagates through and indeed happens, right? And if it doesn't happen, you will kind of evaluate yourself and see that, man, I didn't quite get to do this development which I wanted to, right? And all employees today are very savvy about being developed and finding new skills, right? The other thing that we do and we find important is education. Education while you are on the job and treating it seriously. So in the sense that there are many ways, there are boot camps inside Apple, there are kind of mini, you could think of it as machine learning university, or like different competences that which are very general and that are floated, and people can just go and start taking them. That's a very easy thing. There are also funds that are dedicated for employees every year to either go to conferences, symposium outside, or even take a university class as they're doing their job, in order to develop a skill, right? Especially if it requires something which really is graduate level coursework, or and cannot be handled just through an ad hoc 5-day course. So all those things are important. And third thing, which I feel is probably the most important, is that um, reskilling and multi-skilling is best when it is done with the intent of applying to a product and a project, right? Mm-hmm. So if you were a traditional I don't know, if you were a traditional algorithms engineer, for example, and you wanted to improve your algorithm by looking at its performance across the multiple places it's been deployed. And you didn't traditionally have a machine learning competence, but it's very clear to you that you have so much data that by gaining a little bit of machine learning, you could indeed tune your algorithm a lot better. So in this case, we tend to identify reskilling and multi-skilling in this manner, where it is completely tied to an outcome which will make your own job superior, right? So right. There's this huge motivation for people to get it done. And it's the last thing I want to say, it's the most important, is to make sure that there is a solid, actionable plan to make these things come to fruition. And what that means is we identify, hey, I need support from team member XYZ, or I need support from another organization. And so how am I going to do that in 1 week, in 2 months, and over the course of a year? And teamwork is exceptionally important to easily infiltrate skills into each other. So that's our multi-pronged approach to reskilling.
Absolutely. So I think that makes complete sense. And in fact, we have been seeing a race to reskill, if you will, within organizations, because people are increasingly understanding it's more of a survival strategy, and not so much as a good to do or a good to have kind of a thing. But where we have often seen some of our customers struggle is to at the end of the day establish outcome of some of these reskilling or multi-skilling initiatives. So many of them may start with baselining of skills and identifying skill gaps, trying to build an ROI out of the program. But I think that needs very consistent measurement of the skill gradient, as you go along training or, doing learning and development interventions. So I think to that end, let me come to you, Ajit. So, at Airtel, how do some of these reskilling initiatives pan out? Do you also focus on continuous evaluations along the way, when it comes to your reskilling or cross-skilling processes?
So, I mean, from a reskilling perspective, we definitely have a couple of programs that we conduct within Airtel. I will start with the first example, which is doing a boot camp for campus hires. So when we hire 15, 20 people who we don't know what is going to be their strength going forward, they need a dedicated program where they can go through and eventually learn a couple of important skills that we operate on, and then eventually deciding some of their future assignments basis the outcome of that boot camp. So there we definitely use a couple of platforms to do assessments and conduct trainings. Couple of these trainings are online trainings as well from the platforms, and some of them are from our own subject matter experts within the organization as well. So that is one area where, and this is not actually reskilling. This is first of all assessment and onboarding of fresh talent into the organization. The second part is whenever people in our organization are reaching milestones from a career perspective, maybe they are getting promoted to a tech lead, to architect, maybe shifting into a people management role and all of that. There we have a couple of identified trainings that they go through, and again, I mean, just to give them a soft landing into their new role, and so that they are ready for the challenges that are going to come in. From a tech perspective, I would say there is not a defined process to do this. This is largely basis self-motivation of individuals and their engineering managers and tech leads, where they try to nominate themselves for these trainings. And again, there are a couple of platforms that are getting used for this, but this is on a need basis, I would say. Now, definitely, I mean, there was another question in the Q&A, that how do you keep the top talent retained? And I feel that multi-skilling or reskilling is one such leverage that we can definitely use to keep the top talent engaged, so that they feel that they are having a career growth within the organization, and the organization is also benefiting from them. These are top performers which you definitely want to get continuous engagement from. So I think that's one strategy we definitely employ here. And yeah, I mean, skill upgradation is a must in today's world. Diversification definitely works, and there are tools, there are platforms available which are used, but I think the need is to have a consistent evaluation inbuilt in the process of the entire operation, so that we know we can identify some of these gaps on a proactive basis.
Sure. Thanks, Ajit. I think very, very well put. So I'm conscious that we are almost at the fag end of the time duration. For this discussion, I'm sure people would have wanted a bit more of this discussion. But then, for the want of time, let me quickly come to you with one advice that you would have for our HR colleagues who are, or for even the tech folks who are a part of our audience today. So Ajit, if you can frame what would be your single key advice when it comes to talent acquisition or hiring, how do we do it better for tech organizations? And Dhruv, I would just want you to summarize just one key advice for improving development activities within tech organizations. So over to you, Ajit.
So from a hiring perspective, my biggest advice would be to have a singular integrated recruitment platform that maps the entire journey of the candidate within the process. It is fragmented today. It needs better solutioning right now. And again, at each step of the process, we need to objectively quantify the candidate's strengths and weaknesses, so that even if the particular EM does not feel that this is a good fit for his team, we are able to identify other fitments in the larger organization. So a person should come in the organization from a viewpoint that we should be able to identify his fitment within our organization, and this platform or one single integrated tool is going to help into that.
Great. Dhruv.
All right. So I think, lots of thoughts, but for development, it really comes down to having the candidate, having the organization, and most importantly, the person who hired them, the HR, be fully, not, I don't want to say responsible, but be fully engaged to remind them why they joined in the first place, what is possible in this organization that they're joining, and what were all their plans for their career when they had decided to join this team, right? And therefore set the appropriate development goals, ensure that they have the support they need to get that development, acquire those new skills. And the HR, understanding that multi-skilling is so important also goes for HR, and that they need to develop, they need to be on top of understanding what technical skills would be required for this person in order to succeed based on what past performers have been, right? There are people that tend to do very well, and there are people that tend not to do that well. And as an HR, they could look back and say, hey, here are things that we think a new candidate, if you keep track of these, you would have a fabulous time in your new job and so on.
Sure,
So
sure.
that's
Fantastic, fantastic. So thank you very much, for your insights, Dhruv and Ajit. I'm sure such conversations will encourage more innovation in the HR ecosystem as a whole, and it will effectively help us build the workforce of the future when it comes to tech organizations. So thank you again very much. Thank you, for sparing time to be part of this panel. Thank you very much. Maybe
thank
with
you
that,
very much too.
sure. So maybe with that, we'll dedicate the next few minutes to answering any questions if they're open. So I would encourage you to, type in your questions in the chat or in the Q&A box, and we have all the panelists ready, to be able to answer them.
But there are a couple of questions which are already there in the Q&A section.
Mm-hmm.
If you could maybe
I saw one.
them
Yeah, so I saw one question which was very interesting, which is, how do you hire for niche skills? Anyone wants to take a shot at it? If not, I would like to talk about that.
Please go ahead, Dhruv, I think, and we'll jump in case you have to add anything. It'll be good to get outside perspective as well. So.
Right. So in our opinion, niche skills where there is a depth, I think it's very important to identify why you are trying to hire this candidate with such niche skills, right? Typically, that interests a person who has these niche skills because they will easily be able to identify that, hey, here is the goal, here's what I'm going to create with the very specific skills that I have, which are in shortage all over. And for HR to also deeply understand how this work will tie to the overall success of the complete company, right? From day-to-day technical work all the way to the business, to how it impacts the business. And I think that's the best way to motivate a person like that. I think with LinkedIn today, you're not going to have difficulty searching for a candidate or reaching out to a candidate with niche skills. What you're going to have a difficulty with is motivating them to set up for an interview and motivating them to actually join your job over, the 5 others that they may have availability in the market.
Right. And I think on a similar line, there's one more question from Amrita, which is, what are the top challenges that we have faced in engaging with the top performers or potential great candidates? So I'll give you both a perspective from Mettl Insider as well as what our clients have faced. At Mettl, we are a very young organization. Please don't go by me or Sid, but the rest of the organization is very young. So, and what we see is that these people are very dynamic. These guys are very, very enthusiastic in learning new skills, reskilling themselves, and taking on higher challenges. So what helps here is that we have a very sort of a permeable kind of a structure across teams. So And one of the best examples that I can give here is that the Metal IO product itself is a result of such an initiative. So Metal conducts internal hackathons every 6 months, and the goal of those hackathons is to identify problems and see if there could be quick solutions built around it. Now, these problems are just thrown out wide open for all 400 employees of Metal. And it is not only limited to, let's say, a tech team or a product team to come up with ideas. So, anybody from marketing, sales, ops, anybody could chip in. And then once we identify an idea, we then encourage the team to build on top of it. And we support them in terms of tools, technologies, bandwidth, etc. And the similar thing is happens on the external side as well. So, for example, one of the tech giants, the biggest tech giants, hired from top IITs, and then there was a gap of about 4 to 6 months between the offer process and then the actual joining. But what they wanted to do is to engage with the new hires and also to give them a feel of the kind of problems that they'll be solving for the client. What they did is they engaged them using our hackathon platforms. So they had a very high level AI and ML problems which were devised by the client, and these problems were then given out to all the new hires who were still in campus, but they wanted to still contribute to the problem solving, what they would be doing once they join this company. So this is one of the strategies to engage. Said, anything you would like to add to this?
No, I think well said, Sharad. Initially, it was more of thinking of engagement, but actually not one, two of our products came out of these innovations, and people really got engaged. They came together, and we had a lot of night outs in the office, which we had to administratively cater for because people really wanted to compete against each other. But two very beautiful products came out of this effort that we did. I think one was our hackathon platform itself, and the other bit was the IO simulator. I think if we jog our memories, even the content management system was actually part of a similar hackathon that we had conducted a couple of years back. So I think that's a beautiful way to cut across org structures and get talented people to come and participate in building the organization. So well said, sir.
Sure. Um, Then there's another question from Shweta, and that is about what are the best practices and metrics for measuring training effectiveness, especially for technical skills. So I would like to maybe request Kapil or Ankit to kind of take this question and share their experience in this.
Sure, Sharad. So, when we come to measuring the training effectiveness, there are traditionally two aspects. First aspect being the training itself, whether the training that has been conducted is really effective in is it really aligned to the requirement that was there within the company? Was this training really needed in the first place? And the other aspect is that was this training able to deliver? Uh, and are the candidates now the skill gap that was identified pre-training, has this been reduced to a great extent, or really eliminated at all post? So in the first aspect that I spoke about, that there the in training skill based assessments that becomes really relevant, where while the training was going on, the relevance of the training as well as the effectiveness of the particular subject matter that is being taught is really measured. And we can have metrics such as industry benchmarks, or percentile scores, etc. And then another And then when it comes to post-training effectiveness, that is where an individual, rather than a group, an individual kind of reporting or an analysis needs to be done, where we end up analyzing how effectively was the training conducted, where the gap has been eliminated or has been reduced. So there are pre and a post training comparison done.
Actually, just to add on to that, Kapil, and this is something which comes from a lot of our customers and anybody in the learning and development space, when they are talking about training effectiveness, the one model that they always point their fingers at is the Kirkpatrick model, right? And people talk about the 4 levels of that model, right from reaction, learning, behavior, and results. I think the idea is, first of all, to align your learning and development program to some very well measured goals that you would want to achieve at the end of the day. So people struggle to establish ROI because the business goals at the end of the day which you want to achieve via learning programs are not defined to start with. So if more organizations can start doing that, and of course, as you articulated, measuring skill improvements pre and post a learning intervention is great. But if we have to get down to an ROI level measurement on trainings or training effectiveness, I think it's important that at an organization level we define that what is it that we have set out for. Are we going to win newer projects in a specific space? Are we going to win larger market share from competition if we have those skills? And then go back and measure that have we been able to successfully do that or not? I think that's what a lot of our customers find useful in defining training effectiveness.
That's correct. Yeah. Thanks, Anirban.
Right. Thanks, Anirban. And I guess there's a new question now from Vineet. Thanks, Vineet, for the wishes. And Vineet's question is regarding IO. Can this tool be used for profiling, or it works with preset questions? I'm not sure what you mean by profiling, but IO is a tool which the questions for which and the actual skill level to be assessed can be determined prior to the assessment. So essentially, you need to define, and the way we kind of do it is that once a job role has been identified. So for example, if the job role is a full stack developer and of a certain, let's say, experience level, basis that the question is then designed and the auto grading is basically plugged in. So auto grading is done basis a predetermined testing framework that our content creators build in, and that is how it is done. It is also open for our clients to utilize this tool as is and create their own questions with their own test frameworks. So Ankit, anything that you would like to add to this?
No, rightly, as you said, Sharad, that's exactly what IO is. If you talk about profiling, I mean, if you're talking about, finding whether a candidate is actually suitable for a particular profile or not, or whether they have, the technical capabilities as well as the soft skills for that particular profile or not. So it totally depends on how we are actually, configuring the assessment and configuring the problem statement. Based on the assessment, certain reports can be configured where we can have highlights whether a particular candidate is suitable for a particular job role or not. So this can actually be done using IO, but we actually also have a wide variety of different question types involved where we try to measure whether a particular candidate is fit for a profile or not. These may also include psychometric competencies which are judged as well as technical profiling capabilities. So yes, IO can be used in that particular use case, but from our side, we'll suggest that having a more comprehensive assessment where we are able to actually determine all the required skill set for a particular profile.
Right. Thanks. Thanks, Ankit. I think we have another question from Lijo, and he asks, some of the computer science fundamental problems seems to be a big task for experienced candidates. How can we handle this? So this is a question which I would actually, I have a view on this and how we do it, but I would also like to open it up for all panelists and maybe also get thoughts from Ajit and Dhruv. So anybody would like to chip in out here?
So I was meaning to pick this up because it's a very good question.
Yeah.
And see, it really depends upon. It's not about the experienced candidate. It depends upon the kind of role that he or she is being interviewed for. If it is a senior development manager kind of a role, you want to focus more on design problems, people management problems, his softer skills of managing team and other stuff. But if you're trying to hire for an architect or a tech lead, you want to focus on the computer science fundamentals, and because this would be needed on a day-to-day basis. Even if the candidate is experienced, in my opinion, if it is a role that needs such a skill, you will have to evaluate for that. But if it is a software development manager kind of a role or a senior dev manager role, of course you can skip this part and focus more on the design and architecture part of it. But again, it's not about the candidate who is coming in. It's more about the role that you want to hire for. This is what I feel.
Anirban, anything that you would want to add?
No, I think Ajit made a great point. But yes, I think first of all we need to investigate the reason that why does one lack these basic skills, right? If one is a experienced candidate, and I think that goes on to something which Dhruv touched upon in his narration, saying that people do write a lot of stuff on their resume, but do they actually have those skills? And I think the best way to measure that would be, maybe if we can give a single problem and try and assess, through their approach or through their solution, that whether they lack these basic skills or do they have those basic skills. I think, it can be a quick filtration, that we can use.
Right. And in fact, from our experience also, what we've done, and I think this is a great question because before you bring out the big guns and before you actually go for a deeper analysis into a candidate's tech skill, uh, you know, uh, what we suggest to our clients and what many of the clients actually prefer, because see, this generally comes under the screening round. You would not want to maybe move forward with a candidate if there are certain basic fundamental skills that are missing, and then go through the whole process and waste everybody's time there. So what we have seen here is that a mix of knowledge-based questions and application-based questions. We generally use an assessment which contains a lot of MCQs, MCAs, fill in the blanks, talking about these fundamental problems, and then maybe smaller code snippet kind of problems where a person is requested to maybe correct the code or add some more code over there. And this mixture actually helps us weed out the candidates who are not great at the fundamental level from a theoretical or a knowledge-based point of view as well.
See, I would say this is absolutely important. In my experience, we have had this discussions with multiple HR partners that can we, for example, reduce the complexity of the problem, or can we actually remove the problem altogether? But I totally agree with what is being said here, that this is a good step to filter out people who are maybe not skilled enough or are maybe not interested. And this is a screening process. Actually, this is not even an interview, because the first round is based on the code that has been written, and it gives a good ground for that discussion. And secondly, see, in a tech role on a day-to-day basis, you will have to interact with people who are using some of these concepts, and if you have to lead them effectively, you need to know this.
Right. All right. So I think we've answered pretty much all the questions that were there on the chat. I would encourage attendees to share more questions if they have. And if not, then you can always get in touch with us at contact@mettl.com. You can reach out to us. Our experts will basically um, liaison with you, and they would basically try to understand your problem and propose the best solution going forward. Uh, at this point, Sid or Anirban, would you want to have some closing remarks?
No, actually, first of all, would like to thank all the participants for logging into this event. It was a long event, You went through a larger innovation demo and then a longer chat as well. So hopefully we were able to keep you engaged, educate you, and shape your thoughts on what can be done to build a terrific digital team, whether it's hiring, engaging, or upskilling people. Personally, would like to thank Dhruv as well as Ajit for being part of this initiative, sharing your thoughts, advice, priceless. Also telling us your secret sauce about how to get it right for amazing organizations like Apple and Airtel. A big thank you for validating our thoughts as well on the innovations that we presented. I think a cohesive view, common platform to hire, engage, and retrain people. And as Dhruv said, comprehensive simulators, which are very close to the work that the candidate is supposed to do on the job. I think that's the best way to evaluate skill for future technologies. To all fellow panelists, I know you guys have prepared quite a bit for this. So a big thank you to Sharad, Anirban, Ankit, as well as Kapil. There's a hidden metal team led by Shakun, Ankur. A lot of people have worked really hard to get the event right. So a big thank you, kudos to all of you as well. And once again, take care and God bless. Be safe. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.